At a time when US President Donald Trump has MAGA tariffs on India.
I mean, I had India coming to me, sir, I've been waiting 5 years. We're changing it. We're changing it. India ordered 68 Apaches, and Prime Minister Modi came to see me. Sir, may I see you, please? Yes, I have a very good relationship with him. He's not that happy with me because, you know, they're paying a lot of tariffs now because they're not doing the oil, but they are. They've now reduced it very substantially, as you know, from Russia. We're getting rich because of tariffs, by the way. I hope everyone understands that.
When even Trump's allies in the NATO are not safe from a 10% plus 25% additional tariff of the Greenland purchase row.
We need Greenland for national protection. They have a very small population. And I don't know, they say Denmark, but Denmark has spent no money. They have no military protection. They say that Denmark was there 300 years ago or something with a boat. Well, we were there with boats too, I'm sure. So we'll have to work it all out. But he felt very strongly we need it for we need Greenland for national security, not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security.
Brussels is in crisis. Hostile US dominating China, and a war raging in Eastern Europe. After nearly 2 decades of on-off talks, India and the European Union are set to sign a comprehensive free trade agreement in New Delhi on January 27th. This is Brussels' most expansive trade deal to date, so much so that Ursula von der Leyen, who led the entire EU College of Commissioners to India in February of 2025, is all set to land in New Delhi to ink the pact.
We are the 2 largest democracies in the world. Europe is already India's biggest trading partner. The potential is immense. A free trade agreement between the European Union and India would be the largest deal of its kind anywhere in the world. Europe is open for business, and we are ready to invest in our common future with India.
The timing is no accident, as the US hits Indian goods with tariffs up to 50% and threatens Europe with new duties. Both Delhi and Brussels are racing to build a stable, rules-based trade corridor that is insulated from Washington's mood swings and Beijing's leverage. The EU is already India's largest trading partner in goods, taking nearly 17% of Indian exports. From pharmaceuticals and textiles to engineering goods and chemicals. For Europe, India is a fast-growing China +1 market of 1.4 billion people.
From European Union's view, finalizing the India-EU FTA in 2026 is urgent for economic security. High United States tariffs and fragmented supply chains have increased the risks for the European industries. As of now, a deep trade deal with India helps the EU diversify supply chains under its China +1 strategy and, of course, reduce dependence on China.
The EU expert frames the deal as economic insurance, locking in a democratic partner in Asia, diversifying away from China, and signaling that Europe still believes in big, rules-based trade deals, even as Washington turns inward. For India, slashing 12 to 16% duties on garments and lowering barriers on generic specialty chemicals and engineering goods could turbocharge exports. Services industry from IT to consulting and accounting stand to gain from easier movement of professionals and regulatory convergence. The Indian trade expert calls it a once-in-a-generation opportunity for labor-intensive industries and high-value services, if domestic reforms keep pace with market opening.
European Union-India trade deal likely to be an FTA, I think will do a lot of good to both the countries. It will deepen the investment ties. It will boost the trade to a large extent. And And US, as you rightly said, has imposed 50% import duty on exports from India to the US, which is very, very prohibitive, and it is adversely affecting most of the sectors except those sectors which are exempt from duty, like electronics, smartphones, pharmaceuticals, and so on and so forth. So I think it will go a long way, because let's understand. I mean, European Union and India, they have been strategic partners for a very long time, almost 21 years, 22 years now. Started in 2004.
For the EU, the FTA unlocks a booming market for aircraft and parts, electric machinery, high-end chemicals, and green technologies, from wind turbines to EV components, areas where European firms already lead.
Several European sectors would benefit strongly from the India-EU FTA. Aircraft and aviation part exporters would gain from lower tariffs and easier certification as India's aviation market expands. High-end machinery and industrial equipment producers would benefit from reduced duties and simpler technical standards. The chemicals and specialty chemical sector would gain from tariff cuts and regulatory cooperation. Finally, IP-intensive services such as engineering, digital, and R&D services would benefit from stronger intellectual property protection and clearer rules.
What is important is that agriculture is largely off the table. No sudden flood of European farm goods into India or Indian agricultural exports into Europe, sending a strong signal all the way to Washington.
भारत अपने किसानों के, पशुपालकों के और मछुआरे भाई बहनों के हितों के साथ कभी भी समझौता नहीं करेगा। और मैं जानता हूं, व्यक्तिगत रूप से मुझे बहुत बड़ी कीमत चुकानी पड़ेगी, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए तैयार हूं।
However, it's not just the numbers that need to be in the green. EU's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, also kicks in this month. A landmark environmental policy of EU that aims to rank price goods that are more carbon intensive in manufacturing. For India, these exports like steel, cement, some chemicals will face new levies. While the FTA won't remove CBAM, it offers a predictable framework for cooperation on climate change policy.
I think lots of sectors, for example, are those where an FTA between European Union and India would deepen supply chain relationship. This includes manufacturing, and the most important sectors in manufacturing are auto and electronics and smartphones. Pharmaceutical is again one area which is an area of huge strength for India, where lots of opportunities would emerge. Technology, services, as you rightly said, clean energy, textiles, steel, petroleum products including crude, electrical machines, all these sectors, leather, garments, which are very, very labor intensive sector and very important from an export perspective for India.
The backdrop of this deal is a noisy tariff war, with the Europeans pressed to go harder on India and China. For Delhi and Brussels, the FTA is both economic and strategic counter-programming.
See, as far as India is concerned, we are looking for alternative export markets, and EU could be a very powerful or a viable alternative export destination for India's exports. But as far as imports are concerned, we are actually importing primarily from Russia oil, which EU cannot possibly substitute. But yes, as far as our defense hardware is concerned, that is where EU could fill in the gap, fill in for Russia and provide us with the advanced weapon systems and sensors which could probably substitute Russian weapons which India has been traditionally using. As far as China is concerned, their products, some of them probably could be replaced by EU, but as of now, the cost factor, the cost at which Chinese products are available, is far competitive, and EU, I think, and its products are certainly not competitive as far as China is concerned. Chinese products are concerned. On the face of it, India's dairy consumption is still more than the production. So why should India be so concerned about protecting its dairy industry? I really don't know. But these are some of the issues that probably come to mind. But as I said, India-EU FTA would be a definite plus for India, and we would definitely want it. And from EU's point of view also, it will be a very good option because they'll start getting Indian products, and which could be a substitute to a very great extent for Chinese products, which EU wants to reduce its dependence on. And also, it would reduce their dependence on US to some extent.
For India, the EU Pact sits atop a growing web of deals with the UK, EFTA, Oman and New Zealand, while the big one with the US remains stuck after 6 rounds and a missed 2025 deadline. The EU FTA offers an opportunity to not only diversify supply chains, but also a change to hedge against the Trump tariff shock.
At this point of time, the entire globe is in flux because of President Donald Trump's policies. EU itself is in a flux. They don't know how to deal with it. And so is the case with India. India wants to expand its trade partnerships because there is a looming threat of tariffs further increasing as far as India is concerned, because Trump has already talked of 25% increase if you are trading with Iran, and taking it up to 500% if you are continue to import oil from Russia. And many of these things will become very difficult for our government as we move forward. So we basically want to diversify our trade, and EU is a very, very strong economic entity, though politically it's still a fractured organization, but economically it's a powerful entity, and India would definitely want to have a free trade agreement with it so that our exports could get a fillip, and our economy, which is actually rising at a very, very healthy rate, continues to grow and is not adversely impacted by US sanctions.
Von der Leyen and EU are already riding on a high, with the EU, Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay deal signed on January 16, EU's biggest deal ever in South America.
The EU-Mercosur agreement sends a powerful message. It says, welcome to the world's biggest market and largest free trade zone on the planet.
A deal now with an Asian giant like India in span of just 10 days would send a strong message to the world that the EU means business. With President of the European Council, Mr. Antonio Costa, and President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, attending the Republic Day Parade in New Delhi this year as chief guests. The signing on January 27th is much more than a statement. It's reaffirmation of India's trade sovereignty.